Hey friends, Chef Wainaina here, and today I'm sharing this very easy to make chapati recipe using warm water. Actually, this recipe helps to answer some of the queries that I get in my comment section. I get this question all the time: are you using warm or cold water? So today I'm trying to answer that question with this recipe. For this recipe, I'm going to use about 5 cups of all-purpose flour. Just note, all-purpose is wheat flour. It just means that you can use it to make bread as well as cakes. Five cups. We'll also need some extra flour for dusting. Into the bowl, 1 teaspoon kosher salt, half a teaspoon sugar. On the stove, I heated some water just to barely warm. I need a cup of this water to start with. I'm looking to use about 1.5. I will use the rest of the water as need be. Just with a spatula, bring this all together. We are looking to make a very smooth dough here. So the other about a half. Add a tablespoon of olive oil. And then just part of this water. And then just continue mixing. Just note, different doughs will usually absorb water differently. Just be mindful of that, so just adjust as needed. It's always a good idea not to use all the water at once. But if it's never enough, you can always add as you think you need. Recipes are just a guide. So I'm going to add the rest of this and then see what happens. Awesome. This dough is coming together. We'll move it onto the work table and continue just kneading. So using clean hands, bring this dough together until it's smooth, pliable. Just always note, the dough will always feel sticky in the beginning, but it as continues to absorb the water, it's just going to get better. So don't be in a rush to add any flour at this point. Just try to work with it. Just can get some flour. See, the dough is getting better. I had to clean my hands. Just push, pull it to develop the gluten. Just going to dust my hands slightly and just bring this dough to a finish. For the first stage, we are going to give it time to rest. The key to making good chapatis is letting your dough rest in all stages. So this looks good to me. It's getting smooth on the surface. So give this some time to rest. Actually cover it with this bowl, leave it alone. So this dough is all rested. Have a look at it. You can see how smooth it's become right now. Much easier to work with. And this dough is done. I'm going to cut this dough into a half, quarters, and cut this once more into eighths. And now I get this and then roll them into some small balls, almost a tennis ball size. So just continue rolling this into small balls. Get the last one here. We have about 8 chapatis. That feeds us a family of 4. Everybody gets 2. Just another step here. So I'm just going to have this rest once more, and I'm going to use the same bowl here. Just cover them. I'm gonna leave this for about 5 minutes. This dough is once again all rested. It's very smooth. I'm going to sprinkle just a tiny amount of flour on it. All I need to do now is just to move it from one corner of my mat. One thing I've discovered with warm water dough is that it's a little bit easier to work with, but sometimes the chapati textures are slightly different. We'll wait and see what we get from these ones. Now, just a touch flour here. Then using a rolling pin, just bring this to a circle. At this point, I'm not particularly looking for shape. Get it to this long shape here. And then using some olive oil, just drizzle right on top, a good amount. I'll say about a teaspoon also. I'm using my hands here. You can use a brush. My hands are part of the tools that I use in the kitchen, and they are very efficient for that. So just bring this roll inside. Just stretch it and then bring it to a coil. Put this to a corner and repeat the process. So one of these, some flour, you can actually sprinkle some flour here. This helps to create a space that causes the steam. The steam causes the expansion that creates those beautiful layers you have in chapati. So one more. I will continue until all the 8 chapatis are done. Just rolling the last one here. I feel like today they are slightly bigger than I usually make them. That's okay. Remember, there is no standard size for this. Each cook has their own way of determining what size their family likes or the situation. So the oil. Traditionally, when I'm making my own, I use room temperature water. It usually doesn't make as much difference. The most important and the key thing is to let the dough rest at every stage. It takes a little bit longer for that stage, but the yield will be completely different, or rather the results will be much better. And the dough tends to be much easier to work with when it's all rested. Like now, the first one that we rolled when we started rolling this is almost all rested. So from here, we are going to head to the stove and start making these beautiful chapatis. For the next stage, I have a cast iron. Start preheating it until it's almost smoking. I have this plastic turner that is my classic for making chapatis. And then I have a plate lined with these checkered grease absorbent papers. That's where the chapatis will go after they come out. As the cast iron pan comes to temp, bring one of these rolls onto the work table and just start carefully, just bring it to shape. You know, it doesn't matter here. You can make the map of East Africa. You can make a perfect round. The most important thing is the result at the end. But as I always say, chapati cooks are always very particular, and they want always a good looking round. They look good too when they are round, nicely rounded. I'll set this aside. So I usually like to pre-roll them before the pan heats up, and then all I can do is just to go cook. So I always like to start with maybe about 4 also. I know probably in Indian cooking this will be parathas, rotis, all different names, but as I said before, we just call them chapatis. Either way, they are very delicious with a stew, chicken, goat, or even with seafood. All right, I've managed to make about 5 of these. The cast iron has come to temp here. It's all nice and smoky. Wipe it with some paper towels. Just adjust the heat so slightly downward. And then once this settles a little bit, I'm gonna drop the first chapati. So now onto the cast iron, the first chapati goes on. Just a few seconds, it's gonna start bubbling. Just a slight turn. That makes sure that it's evenly browning at the bottom. So once you notice the tiny bubbles, just pinch it in one corner, give it a turn, and then spin it. And then I can drizzle some oil on top here, and then using my turner, just work it slightly and then just give it a turn. See the beautiful bubbling. So now just some oil. Turn it. At this point, it's up to you how much oil you need to add. Different people have different preferences. You can use as less as you want, or you can just use what you think is right for you at this point. But there is no right amount. It's up to you. It's your preference. But it's always good to work with the recipe first, and then in your next one, you can always do those adjustments. Beautiful color. Although the stove might have been a little bit on the hotter side when we started this one. So hopefully in the next one it's going to adjust. That's the beauty of cooking. So I'm going to remove this one onto the plate. Always wipe your cast iron or whatever pan, your karai, whatever you're using, just as you go. One more chapati. And then I'll continue cooking until all are done here. Looking for the bubbles to start appearing. Give it a turn. Add some oil if you need. Continue cooking until it has that golden brown and delicious color. That is the hallmark of chapatis. So once you get the color on the other side, just give it a turn. You can add some oil, you can skip this stage. So I went ahead and rolled the rest of the chapatis, and here comes the last one. Let it bubble, give it a few turns, and it's done. I have a tendency of using both my hands, my turner. I think I've gotten so used to doing this, sometimes I don't notice. Don't do this at home if you're not used to it. Use a turner. Some oil, nudge it for the bubbles, flip. These chapatis, they take anywhere between a minute and a half. It all depends on your settings and the amount of heat that you have. You can see all this beautiful color. This is as a result, sugar contributes, the caramelization. Boom, all done. To the table, enjoy this. Our warm water chapati recipe is all done. Look, we have these very soft chapatis that we got. So our recipe gave us 8 chapatis here. They all look so good. Look, just have a look at that. Very beautiful looking. Can't wait to taste this. So here comes the moment of truth for these beautifully looking warm water chapatis. See all this? It's very beautiful. All nicely layered. This is all we look for in chapatis. This is all deliciousness. Very soft. This will make a delicious dinner. So friends, there you have it, our warm water chapatis all done. One thing I just noticed that is slightly different from my regular chapatis is that these tends to be a little bit chewy, but they're just as good. They take a little bit less time to relax, but at the end of the day, you have these beautiful chapatis that you can do on any day of the week. Thank you so much for watching this one. I hope to see you in the next one. Just remember to subscribe to my channel, watch more of my content, especially some of the stews that go very well with these chapatis. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.